Leo, amazing opportunities are still awaiting you as the month draws to a close and we enter November. It's a lot of full circle moments coming up for you, okay? So culmination points, turning points that are really pretty marked. Before we get there, I want to just take this back to late September into October just for a moment. You're kind of at odds with something to do with your confidence. You have been feeling like, on one hand, like, oh, I can take on anything. I feel really empowered. I have everything I need to do what I want to do. People respond really well towards me. That's what you're thinking. And then as we kind of got into October, something went pear-shaped maybe, where it took a knock back and like you were set back a few steps into all this work that you've been doing on yourself. It seems like somebody might be kind of working against you, or like, you know, like feeding into this kind of lack of confidence. And like, I don't know, it seems like some people really, it's clear that some people really build you up and that others kind of just do the opposite, drain you. Like all of these cups emptying out. When the 9 of Cups, that fulfillment upright, it's all full there, but it's spilling out now, and like they're diminishing you, taking something away from you even. But it does seem like the end of September, beginning October did bring about more of a final chapter in your life. So we were closing something off in a bigger way for your sign. You were like kind of putting the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, and totally prepared to end it in your mind, like reach a final point on it and say, okay, that area of my life has come to an end. Something has ended for me. It's over. It doesn't necessarily have to be an ending of a relationship or a job or something like that. It could be just like, I'm not going to engage with these people that diminish my confidence, my self-esteem anymore. I know very well who the people who make me feel like this fiery queen here, the Queen of Wands, like, you know, who makes you feel good and who you feel your best around. So at October's, from where we're looking at October, and we're going to look at these cards together in just a moment and clear some up with more tarot, but the Wheel of Fortune coming through is a really positive card, of course, for the month of October. So let's take this from now around the 13th or 14th of October to the end of the month, around Samhain, around Halloween, whatever date that is now, the 31st of October. So yeah, like it's like something pretty successful probably happens, or you can feel the lead up to like something good happening for you at work, making a bigger sale or something, or like just expanding in terms of your growth in a bigger way. You want to be discreet about it though, all the same. Like these blessings are pretty undeniable perhaps to you this month for some, but there's still a big part of you that want to be very discreet and play it off a little bit. Maybe you don't want to brag, but for whatever reason you don't feel like you can fully share your success with everybody this month. Maybe it's because some of these people aren't always happy to see you shine, Leo, but you really know the ones that do. Look forward to hearing all of your success stories, how well you've been doing. So things are looking really well in October, but for some reason you want to be more discreet about your success. You might even be just like planning, like kind of still thinking things through about how you're going to make an announcement. And the Temperance card here is sort of talking to me about I don't know, leveling up in a bigger way, like, but you don't really feel like broadcasting this either. It's like a very internal process that you just feel very much like you're leveling up. You feel very in balance in your life, or maybe, you know, you've balanced out some of the negativity that you've been feeling about yourself, maybe your own body image, maybe just feeling like, you know, in the work you're doing, there could have been a sense, often this 9 of Cups is referring to not getting recognized in the workplace, or like by people that should really value you, whether that's colleagues, a boss, an employer, even family or friends, or a partner. That can come up there as well, but it seems like things overall are going pretty well for you in October. And then the end of the month going into November looks like that anything that you've been tying up loose ends or bringing things like to a natural close, even for some a more dramatic nail in the coffin for sure, that is starting to kind of, your external world is now something you can live out in in these changes. So the changes have occurred. They feel kind of fated, even some of these changes, but now you have all this free will to work with. So meanwhile, things might have been changing and even continuing to move and to shift in the month of October. That seems fated, and it seems opportune and pretty like well destined for you, and you're rising to the destiny, some of you. Now you have all of the options to live your life and make your own choices, express your free will in the world and exist in the world, in this new world for you. It seems something has changed a little bit, but now you have strength, or you have the desire to just carve your own path now and look forward to the future. 3 of Wands is a late October into November energy, looking forward for something else, still considering perhaps traveling or expanding your horizons or doing something slightly new. It looks like some sort of an opportunity or some sort of a pathway aligns for you, and an option does emerge at the end of the month or the beginning of November that seems like a new job offer, a new opportunity to apply for a course that you're interested in. You might hear of some sort of a group that's being formed that you would really like to be a part of. All of these things can be Ace of Pentacles energy, Ace of Coins. Let's look at these cards together, Leo, and clear some more up with the tarot. Let's clear up the first row. Queen of Wands, 9 of Cups in reverse, and the 10 of Swords. Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Coins. Right, so these are Mercury ruled signs, Gemini and Virgo. So this Mercury retrograde might have been wreaking a bit of chaos or disruption or inconvenience and nuisance in your life. But what am I trying to see here from this other than that? Just that like communications might have been off. But, you know, typically what I'm seeing with this Knight of Swords energy is there is a real anxiety between the clear positives and negatives in your life, and you go between a lot, right? Like this Knight of Swords, rushing back and forward, mental energy, sword energy, air energy. So you're back and forth in your mind a lot. And one minute, like you're saying to people, oh yeah, I look amazing, I'm so great, I'm so proud of myself, I'm doing amazing, you know, I'm really growing, I'm really happy with the person I'm becoming. And then there's a real negative voice that creeps in. These could be external people, like kind of bringing you down or belittling you, or like it's a voice inside your head. So you're trying recently to try and find a bit of balance between the real, there seems to be a lot of clear positives as far as you're concerned in your life, like, or like how things are going, and then there's like these things that you perceive as very negative, and you're just trying to find some sort of a balance there. Something that's been brought to an end might have been a long time coming for you at this point. It might have felt like for a while that you were over this. You've spent a lot of time thinking about it, like gosh, you're all thought out at this point. And so the ending that came about for you, it seemed like it just took a long time to get to it. You had to really like endure with something for a while, and hey, maybe it didn't fully turn out the way you had planned, but at least or maybe it has, and you're happy with how things have turned out, and this ending was like a relief to you, a weight off your shoulders, liberating, even bringing you closer to like some sort of self-fulfillment, and maybe uprighting this 9 of Cups eventually. The endings that have taken place, you're still moving, you didn't let it knock you down. In fact, it was like a very roll with the punches energy of September into October. And now the changes that have been made in the form of probably endings, or saying no more, I'm doing no more with this area of life, I've reached a breakthrough, I almost broke down. Maybe some people felt like they did break down, but you're saying no more, like a very clear line in the sand has been drawn. So the Wheel of Fortune then opens up for new possibilities now, or a change of scene, an upward swing of events usually. Let's have a look into those cards. So this is kind of, you're feeling more positive, more kind of aligned now in the month of October, hopefully. So let's look at the Wheel of Fortune, the 7 of Swords, and the Temperance card. And I'm gonna pull 3 cards here. The 5 of Swords. The opportunities that present themselves will possibly bring up some feelings of hesitation in you and feeling like you could repeat a mistake too easily. Page of Wands in reverse, yeah. And you've been burned like that before, so you're hesitant in a sense. The Five of Pentacles. Okay, so with all your contracting and expansion, with all your expansion comes some sort of mental contracting, right? Where you start to psych yourself out and tell things to yourself like, you messed up on that before, remember? And you'll be saying like, I don't think you should do that again. It's basically our brain in action here and trying to protect us from like unknowns by telling us, you know, our mental, telling us something that our heart or soul might not feel necessarily in alignment, but they'll tell you, the brain will tell you things like, you shouldn't go for this because you probably won't succeed, you don't know how to do it. That is the way the brain keeps us safe in its twisted sort of way. But you may be having to see past it. Like there's a reason that good things are happening, because it could have resulted in you making a more severe and like final cut somehow. It doesn't seem like you want to talk about it fully though, the Page of Wands. And like I said, it's kind of linked to this more discreet element here of the Seven of Swords, not really wanting to reveal everything and keeping your cards quite close to your chest. It's because in the past you may have blurted something out, even in the recent past during this Mercury retrograde, something was said out. There could have been, some sort of a mind-altering substance involved here, or just like some emotion that was bubbling and it was just something blurted out. And now you think, right, I'll be more careful about how I approach things again. I won't say it like that again. There does seem to be like you deciding that money isn't everything this month and that there's much more important things in your life than your finances. And meanwhile, you might still have some reservations about, or even some concern or worry about things like, you know, getting your bills paid on time or saving for your future, and maybe you've had to dip into some rainy day funds. But it seems like overall you don't really mind the way you might have minded before. It's like you've grown a little more, you realize what is more important to you in life, and you're kind of on some sort of a spiritual quest at the moment to search for something that means a little more than just what the material plane is offering to you this month. It seems like the blessings that are coming, you may self-sabotage with the Five of Swords. That's the card of self-sabotage in the tarot, right? And when things are expanding and going well, if there's nothing else to block us, sometimes we can turn into our own worst enemy and quit before we kind of get this idea into your head like, well, I should just quit before I'm ahead, sort of a thing. Or like kind of think that you're maybe some of you are more afraid of the success that could happen with this endeavor or these alignments. You're more afraid of the success almost than the failure, okay? It could be coming from this Five of Pentacles, Five of Coins feeling of sort of unworthiness, which is associated there. I don't know, let's have a look, because I think it becomes a bit more real to you by November, like whether I like it or not, something is happening, and it looks pretty expansive and looks pretty brill. Let's see what it could be. So when you finally come full circle on something and you realize like, wow, I made it through that. I came out the other side, the High Priest or the Hierophant, and the Three of Pentacles, Three of Coins. Okay, when you realize that you've made it through some sort of an upheaval in your life, and the dust has now settled and you're kind of feeling like you're ready to start something new and expand into the world, broaden your horizons, and this is when opportunities tend to present themselves, right? When we have made peace with our past, and we're ready to kind of progress again. Three is growth and progression. I have three people here in chains because some of them are still not over the hurdle yet of saying goodbye, saying door closed, chapter closed. There's still some energetic bonds tying here, which could be still being in touch with somebody, which could be still like holding out with an expectation that somebody is going to come back into your life. Things like that would be just a final cord that needs to be cut. I see that these people will grow, and like once they get out, once they say their final goodbyes, and that might be like you, Leo, then it is on to the next chapter, an exciting chapter awaiting with new opportunities arising now. This might be difficult because for some of you, this was a very hard change to make in your life, and it is a change that you were actually, it took a very, very long time to bring this change about, is what I'm saying. And for some of you, you actually did not want this change to happen, and it was not perceived to be welcome change for you. And initially, and that's maybe the last hurdle for some of you, seeing the blessing in this change. What else has it offered you now? Like, do you feel more confident, more happy, like there's more possibilities, more excited, more like clearer on a spiritual destiny or path for some reason? You didn't want the change to happen though, and some of you just need to come to terms with all of the blessings that have resulted in from this change, even though it was something that was very solid in your life and something that was very dependable in your life. And you know what, that was why it was there for X amount of time, but your soul has evolved through that person, place, thing, whatever was the stability or security that you've changed. Your soul was ready to evolve, so it was ready to grow and on to the next chapter, new challenges, new opportunities. 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Coins, a beautiful end of the month with, in terms of like friendships, in terms of like even making what would it be, like resolving any issues with anybody that you've had. No doubt when all of the chips were falling in the past, and this was even beyond September, like, you know, we're almost, I can see that this was near the end anyway, like in late September and October. So I'm thinking that the chips really fell beyond that, in the past before that. Now you're kind of definitely regrouping, but people that you might have lost touch with as a result are now coming back into your life, and you're kind of rejoining the circle, and you're coming back into the fold again. Another 3 here. I really sense a lot of growth, which is associated with the 3s, and the Queen is a 3 too. So even the month enters, like you began October growing and changing and progressing, right? Okay, so you haven't slowed down at all yet, Leo. That is going to be your October reading into November. There is astrology for the month of October on my YouTube already under October Astrology Libra Season All Signs video. That's a nice way for you to check in with what still lies ahead for you for the month of October according to your sign. And also, you know what, it's a great way to look back and reflect and see how things lined up for you in retrospect. Thanks for watching and see you soon.